I want to test the sound, Peter. How do you test the sound? Sorry.
About 2 years.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming out today. I know it's so nice outside, you probably wanted to stay home or do something else, but we're try to stay on schedule here. My name is Roger Bautista. I'm a local physician here at the hospital, and I just want to welcome you to the Armona Seventh-day Adventist Church at the start of our health meetings. Just to give you an overview of what we're going to do, so just for the first 30 minutes or so, we'll go over this lecture called A Newstart to a Healthier Life. And then for the next 15 minutes, then we'll have a question and answer period. And then for the next 15 minutes, we'll have a cooking demonstration. And then we'll be able to give you some samples after that as well. There were some books out there in the foyer if you're interested. You probably got some already in a handout with a lecture. It pretty much has all the information on the slides, so you don't really have to write much in there, but you could take notes if you need to. Okay? So if we could say a quick prayer to begin, and then we'll start. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for giving us life and for the opportunity to come here together and to talk about health and health principles. I ask that you send your Holy Spirit on us and lead us and guide us, open our hearts and minds, and help us to live healthier lives for you. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. I hope I don't talk too fast because I tend to talk fast. But has anybody heard of Newstart before, this acronym? A few of you have. So Newstart is an acronym. Each of the letters stand for something. So nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. So this is just an overview. In future lectures, we're going to talk about more of these in depth. So If it just seems very superficial or very brief, that's just the reason for it. So, nutrition. How many of you have heard of whole food, plant-based? I think it's becoming more popular now. And nowadays, a lot of food is processed and refined, and we'll talk about that more later on. When we think about carbohydrates, what do you think about carbohydrates? We always hear like a bad rap about carbohydrates, right? Don't eat too many carbs, don't eat too many carbs. But did you know that the average carbohydrate content of these 227 fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, nuts, and seeds is 60% carbohydrates? And then even the protein content is 14%. So it's always best to eat as much as possible fresh fruits and vegetables, different varieties, different colors, and actually the ones that are in season. You don't want to really eat the ones that are in cans. You don't know how long it's been there and they've been preserved. And then whole grains. What's also important is that they stay whole. You want to avoid the ones that say enriched. I know you've seen flours that say enriched flour or bleached. So that's all processed. It's important to also look at the fiber content of each serving and the serving size. So as you'll see, all of these whole foods, they decrease the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. So simple or refined versus complex and whole carbohydrates. I like this example here of an apple. I was amazed by this. So a whole medium apple with the peeling has 3.3 grams of fiber. Now you take out the peeling, that cuts it in half, down to 1.7 grams of fiber. You make it into applesauce, so you cook a little bit, it's 1.5 grams, and now you have just the juice. It's only 0.2 grams of fiber. So look at how much fiber you lost from the whole apple down to the juice. So I think God created the apple and all the other, all the stuff that we're supposed to eat with fiber, and fiber has a lot of benefits to it. So high fiber foods, just basically all the the beans, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. So what does fiber do? I think it's kind of small up there, sorry. So the fiber in food releases the sugar slowly. It also helps to remove cholesterol from the intestines, and it holds water. Some people actually use, what's it called, benefiber or Metamucil, exactly. That's just fiber. That's like psyllium husk. Yeah, that's just the plain fiber. So it helps to make our stool large and firm, and it holds water, so you have better stools. It also hinders the growth of the bad bacteria in our colon, and it supports the good bacteria. Now, nuts and seeds are also healthy foods, but I put here it's good to eat them raw, unsalted, no sugar, no added sugar, no oil. When you add all that stuff, it takes away the good benefits from that. Just as a guideline, just like a handful a day is good for you. So all the nuts, almonds, walnuts, pecans, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, watermelon seeds. Did you know that watermelon seeds are actually good to help decrease high blood pressure as well? So if they're small enough, I just like to eat the seeds anyway with the watermelon. So where does this come from? I have to point this out in the Bible. In Genesis 1:29, it says, "And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat." Now, I know eating habits are habits, right? I know it's not easy just to, whatever food you're eating, you can't just stop eating meat or whatever. So if you want to make a change, you have to have a reason for it, right? You have to know why you're making a change. Just like you guys coming here, you didn't come here by accident. You guys made a choice to come here, and you came here, right? you wanted to learn more about health. And I just wanted to point out that, health is not just physical, right? It's the whole, not just our physical body, it's our mental health, it's our emotional health, it's our spiritual health. So that's all connected. So as far as the food goes, you want to just try to make better choices, right? So, try to eat less meat. Try, if you're going to eat meat, eat baked instead of fried. Something like that. So try to make, small choices that you could deal with. And I would even say, that's why I put here is like, if you can get it, is like the organic meats and the grass-fed, pasture-raised, wild-caught fish, things like that. So now what about snacks? I know a lot of people eat snacks. Some people even recommend, eating 6 or 7 times a day for diabetes control, things like that. Did you know that it takes about 3 to 5 hours to move the food from the stomach into the small intestine? And I was trying to find this study because I heard it before, but I couldn't find out where they found out. But they studied these people who they gave them breakfast, just a regular breakfast. And 2 hours later, they gave people some food, either a banana or some crackers. And then they found out like 8 or 9 hours later, their breakfast was still in their stomach. So what happens is when you're eating, when you eat, your stomach gets all full, right? So your stomach's getting full of food. When you eat again, your stomach stops digesting. So that's why that food just stays in your stomach. So that's why it's good to rest your stomach in between meals. Now, have you seen this before? On the right side here. Eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. Anybody heard that before? What is usually the biggest meal of the day? Dinner, breakfast, lunch? Dinner? I think most people, it's dinner, right? If your digestive system is working at night and you're eating a large dinner and you have to digest a large dinner, your body's still working. So that's the concept of this. Well, when you wake up, I don't know if you've heard this before too, you eat breakfast because you're breaking the fast that you had all night long because you didn't eat all night long, right? So you want to eat a big breakfast because you're going to be active all day long. Then you eat lunch a little smaller, and then dinner like a pauper, just a small amount of food. That other picture here is, if you eat breakfast, they tend to gain more weight at nighttime if you eat a big breakfast. Eat a big dinner, I'm sorry. Who said this? Let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. If anybody could tell me. What's that? Hippocrates? Yes, you're right, Hippocrates. That's right. Let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food. Okay, so moving on to exercise. Just some of the benefits of exercise. It increases your circulation. You get oxygen to all your organs. You eliminate waste products through your sweat, through your breathing. You're using your muscles. You're moving your joints, and you basically feel better, right? Does anybody not feel better after the exercise? Especially not if you do a whole bunch, right? But if you just exercise, you feel better. And I think we were made to move. Going outdoors, getting the sunshine, the fresh air, that's the best thing. If you ever notice little kids, us parents, they always move around, they're always running around. And then when we get older, we're like, I can't keep up with my kids because they keep on moving around. That's, I think we were all made to move. The World Health Organization, they recommend 60 minutes a day for weight control. And they just mentioned about brisk exercise. It's just walking 3.5 miles an hour. So, you don't have to do 60 minutes right now if you're not exercising. Just start. Just exercise for 30 seconds, 1 minute. I don't want to say who, but I know somebody who, they never did push-ups before. They did one push-up and said, okay, then do more. And then, eventually they get to do more push-ups and push-ups because they get stronger. But, you want to make exercise fun. exercise with other people, jog, hike, sports. Gardening is actually a good exercise too, and it's useful labor because with gardening you get food, and you could grow your own food too. Now water. Why do we need water? So small. So our body is about 75% water. It's essential for everything. Basically our brain is made up of 90% water. We need it for our blood circulation, to move our chemicals in our blood, to digest food, to detox. And water is basically really the best drink you could have. The sodas, there's extra sugar in that. You need more water just to eliminate that and break that down. You want to avoid caffeine because caffeine actually dehydrates you. Teas that have caffeine, herbal teas are okay. And I put here juice. Can anybody tell me why should we avoid juice from what we just learned? Sugar, yeah, the sugar, and there's no more fiber. Right. So just eat the whole fruit, and you get the juice and the fiber, and all the benefits from that. So how much water should we drink? So basically, the guideline is between half an ounce to 1 ounce for each pound that you weigh. So if you weigh about 140 pounds, that's about 70 to 140 ounces a day. So about 8.5 to 17.5 cups of water. Okay, this is 8 ounces. This is 8 cups of water already. This is 64 ounces. So, and then you want to drink it throughout the day. It's for optimal digestion. You should wait about 1 hour after your meals to drink water, and you should also stop about 30 minutes prior to your meals, so you don't dilute your digestive enzymes. And if you're not used to drinking water, you could easily add lemon juice, cut lemon, cut oranges, mint leaves, orange slices, things like that. So, just an example here. I usually drink water when I get up in the morning. I never really did that before. I know my mom used to do that, and she would actually drink this warm water too. And so they say, drink some warm water in the morning to flush out your digestive system, helps with constipation. So if you drink 2 to 4 cups of water before breakfast, and then between breakfast and lunch, another 2 to 3 cups, and between lunch and dinner, another 2 to 3 cups, and then between dinner and bedtime, another 1 cup, that's already 7 to 11 cups of water. It's just trying to remember to do that. But of course, if you have any heart problems or kidney problems, you want to drink less. Okay. Now, S for sunshine. This is mainly talking about for increasing serotonin. It's a chemical that helps us feel better and helps us fight depression. Morning sunlight is the best. You want to go outside as much as possible. Of course, you don't want to look at the sun directly. You don't want to injure your eyes. And it's interesting, too, that the serotonin that your body makes today, it won't last until tomorrow. So you need to go outside tomorrow. You need to do it every day. You get daily sun exposure. And if you notice, too, when it's, we know how cloudy and overcast it could get here in the wintertime. The light intensity on a cloudy, gloomy day outside is actually brighter than these artificial lights. So still go outside. Go outside when it's cloudy and everything. Now the sun is also good to make vitamin D, and the vitamin D is needed for our immune system. You can see here from the list. And you basically just need about 15 minutes of direct sunlight on your face, hands, and arms, just at least 3 times a week. And just be careful not to get sunburn. Now temperance. I like this definition of temperance, where it says, avoid everything that is hurtful and use judiciously that which is not helpful. So basically not moderation in everything. I've heard people, or heard that saying, just moderation in everything. You're not going to use moderation of illegal drugs, right? It's just, or things that will kill you, right? You just avoid those things. So what happens if we say, right now, we ate 9 meals all at one time and then don't eat for the next 3 days? Are we going to feel good? No. Or we just run a marathon right now and then don't exercise and just lay flat still for 2 weeks. Or drink 5 gallons of water in one day and not drink for another 10 days. So basically, we have to be temperate even on these good things, right? Too much of a good thing is not good for you either. I just put here about alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs, caffeine. I think so. Alcohol is like one of the highest used drug in the world, and it's toxic to the brain and nerves, impairs nerve impulses, impairs our frontal lobe functions. It's addictive, increases breast cancer in women, and causes adult dementia. Now, air. Air is essential to life, right? We can't live without air. It says cells start to die in 3 minutes without oxygen. So pure, fresh air is the best. It purifies the blood. It relaxes the body. It's nice. I think we still have good air today, right? I think it wasn't that good yesterday. So I just wanted to show you something here too. So proper breathing is when the lungs expand, the diaphragm, the muscle that lowers our lungs, and then the abdomen pushes out. So when you take a deep breath, you're not sucking like this. You want to, it pushes out. So let's have everybody stand up really quick. Have you guys heard of box breathing? This is good I learned this to help with stress and to relax you. So this is what it is. Basically, you just breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold your breath. And then do that like maybe 3 to 5 cycles. Okay, so if you can feel your stomach if you're doing it right. So let's breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold it. Let it out. And hold it. Breathe in again. Try to push your stomach out. Let it out. And hold it. So you could do that. You could even hold it longer or breathe in longer. You could do it, breathe in for 5 seconds or breathe in for 7 seconds and hold it for that long. And you'll notice that, it totally relaxes your body. So that's something that you could do even when you're in bed right before you go to sleep. So you could have a seat. Now rest. We need proper rest, right? Every night, about 7 to 8 hours every night, more for children who are growing. But what is the best time to sleep? What is the best time? What's that? Before midnight? At nighttime, yes. So I don't know if any of you have chickens. We have chickens, and it's so interesting. When it's dark, they go into their roost, and they know that it's time to sleep. And then even before the sun's up, they're already, the rooster's crowing and stuff. So it's interesting how they know, to sleep that early and everything. But did you know that it's good to sleep? It's hard. It's hard for me to sleep 2.5 to 3 hours before midnight. So sleeping around 9 to 9:30 at night. And there's a saying: every hour of sleep you get before midnight is equivalent to 2 hours after midnight. Some even say 3. So basically here, if you sleep from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., the 2 hours from 10 p.m. to midnight, that 2 hours of sleep, that's almost like getting 4 hours of sleep. And then the rest of the night from midnight to 6 a.m., that's 6 hours, so you get 10 hours of rest. Versus if you sleep at 1 in the morning and till 9 in the morning, that's still 8 hours also, but that's only a total of 8 hours. But how about how you feel? Can you tell the difference if you sleep at 10 at night versus 1 in the morning? You could tell, right? Yeah, you could tell. So we have to think of rest as medicine as well. How about this? Who said this? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. What's that? Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, you're right. You're right. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Yeah. Okay. Now the last one, T, trust in God. I like these couple of verses here. This is in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And here in Isaiah 26, 3, it says, Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Who doesn't want to have peace? Anybody not want to have peace? These negative emotions, like stress, anxiety, depression, fear, hatred, anger, they all have negative effects on the body. But how about the positive emotions? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing, right? So when you're thankful, when you have peace, when you have love, you're cheerful, you're content, you're optimistic, you have hope, that's healing for the body. They actually did a study that optimistic adults had the strongest immune response versus pessimistic adults. And then this here quote down here I like is, thank God for what you have and trust God for what you need. I think this trusting and having peace, it helps our attitude. I wanted to share a quick video here. Do you remember this column in Reader's Digest called Laughter the Best Medicine? You familiar with that? Okay. Yeah, I like this. It's so neat. So there's a video here I want to share. A guy from a guy named Sam Glenn. Hope it's not too loud.
About 2 years ago, I fell off an airplane. Now, it wasn't in the air, it was on the ground. It was the San Jose airport, and this is where they wheel the stairs up. You have to walk out the doorway and down the stairs.
I'm sorry.
I'm in the back of the airplane, standing.
Sorry, I'll restart it.
Is it shown on your?
I have it here.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the notes.
What I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah. I think it's this one.
Yeah, it is, and it's. Pitching. It's
Is it control or function?
Is it function?
Oh, I think it's function.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Let me see if it works.
It's not accepting the.
No.
Okay. What's the? Here. Do me a favor. And can you do an email? You can email me that link.
Or can I just do it on here?
No, it's
They won't do it on here, huh?
no.
Okay. I'll just show it on here. I could just show it on here.
Yeah.
Was that blurry enough? Sorry about that. Any questions in the meantime? Any questions? Yes, Candace.
I always get this question from my patients, right? Are there fruits that are bad for diabetics?
Are there fruits?
Are all fruits good for diabetics?
That's a hard question. That's a good question. No. I think diabetics can eat all fruits, but certain fruits are sweeter than others, and probably like There's something called northern fruits, like the less sweet fruits. That's good to be eaten at nighttime. Like the sweeter fruits you could eat in the morning because you're going to burn it off anyway. So I think that's a good guideline. Do you need it again? Which one are you taking?
You said about juices.
Yes.
What about, is it juices? Okay, now, all right. You talk about juices not having fiber. What happens if you have your own juicing machine? You know what I mean, like a cold pressed type?
Mm-hmm.
You lose the fiber in that as well?
You do, because you'll see all the pulp.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's that pulp is what our bodies need, right?
Right.
Okay.
Because if you drink the really fresh juice like carrots and those healthy greens, it gets absorbed within 15 minutes. But if you eat it with a fiber, it takes for a long time.
Right.
But anyway, you're not just juicing, you eat other good food too.
Right.
So you still get the fiber.
Yeah, it's still good to drink juice. I would say maybe don't replace water with juice. But, people still use juice for when they're sick or whatnot, so that's still good. So I don't want to just downplay, all juice is bad.
Yes, doctor, you were talking about nutrition earlier. What's the best diet for this pandemic time? Is there any specific food that we need to eat or is good to eat for us to face the pandemic?
Basically, just a whole food, plant-based diet. As much fresh as you can, but of course, you cook your vegetables, cook the beans, things like that. Even processed foods, it can be what do you call it? Like vegan or vegetarian, right? French fries is vegetarian, they're vegan. So, and chips too. So you want to, unprocessed is good. If you could use less oil, less sugar, that's good. And eating the whole grains too.
When you were talking about water,
Yes.
so you should not drink while you're eating?
You could drink some while you're eating, just not drink so much. Like you don't want to drink like 2 cups of water with your meals. You could have some. You have soups with your water. I mean, there's water in your soup. There's water in your salad dressings and things like that. But if you need to, if something's dry or something like that, definitely you could drink some water. It's just not trying to drink so much. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Please wait for the microphone so we can hear you on live stream. Thank you.
Why is not recommended to drink too much water with the food?
With the food, I think it's mainly because it dilutes your digestive enzymes when you drink so much. Then you get full because you have so much water, and then okay, now I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be hungry in 2 hours again, stuff like that. So when you're eating, you want to eat more food and the fiber and all that, and then that's why in between meals it's best to drink water then. Mm-hmm. Did it work? Oh, okay. Can you start it? Like go back 1 second. All right, we'll continue the question and answers. That's good.
About 2 years ago, I fell off an airplane. Now, it wasn't in the air, it was on the ground. It was the San Jose airport. And this is where they wheel the stairs up. You have to walk out the doorway and down the stairs. I'm in the back of the airplane standing, and, I told you I'm ADD, so I'm looking all over the place. And mind you, being 6'7", I have to do the Oompa Loompa walk off an airplane. So I'm back there, and the little flight attendant, she just sees how tall I am. She yells down over everybody and gives me some good wisdom. She goes, "Sir! Sir!" I didn't respond to that because I'm thinking there's a lot of sirs here. She looks down, she goes, "Big guy!" Everyone looks back. I think she's talking to you. I go, "Yes!" She goes, "You gotta watch your head. You're tall." Okay. And she has a good point, because in 8 years of traveling the country and being on airplanes, I've taken out 2 exit signs and headbutted a television set. It happens the same time. I'll be talking to the person behind me. As soon as I turn around, practically knock myself unconscious. The person behind me, they always ask the same thing. Did it look like it hurt? Did it hurt? Sounded like it hurt. Felt good. There's another one up there. I'm going to go for that one too. Now I step up to the little doorway. And as I get up to the doorway, the little flight attendant, she goes, "Sir, have a good day." I said, "You too." She goes, "Watch your head." I'm watching my head. And the woman doesn't tell me there's a 5 or 6 inch thing you have to step over to get outside the doorway. And I don't see that because I'm too busy watching my head. Now there were 2 people in front of me. One of them was a business professional, but I think he had terminal professionalism. He's walking down the stairs, and man, he was the epitome of somebody who was uptight. Had a lot going on probably. He's walking down the stairs, "Got a big meeting today." And I was about to change his attitude. That's what I do. I travel around the country, and I change people's attitudes. If it doesn't work in a speech, I'll just fall on you. I'll hold you down. I had nothing to grab onto except this guy. I wrap my arms around this man. He doesn't know what's going on. His head is here, I'm right here, and I'm trying to steer us. And he yells, "What's going on?" And I said, "We're falling." And we fell. And we took one other person who didn't see us coming out at the bottom of the stairs. Now we're laying there. This is very embarrassing. And at first I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I don't want them to think it was me. So I get that disgusted look on my face. I just start looking, who fell? Who fell? The guy in the suit looks at me, "You did." Oh, that's right. Attitude is a choice. And if we... Now there's a laugh I like. I've heard a lot of them, but I've never heard one like that. We might have to give an award out for that. If you don't choose your attitude at the beginning of the day, what happens is you might let your environment choose it. If you got a flat tire, something goes bad news, we think, well, that's the kind of day I'm going to have. It's not. Having the right attitude isn't going to stop challenges from coming your way. When you have a negative attitude, or you take on the negative attitudes, the many forms of negative attitudes, such as complaining, judgmental, criticism, hate, anger, bitterness, you block progress. You block yourself from solutions. You block yourself from profiting yourself and other people. There are no solutions with the negative forms of attitude. You've got to be willing to choose your attitude first. Now, I didn't want these people to go on their day thinking that's the kind of day I'm going to have. I didn't want them to walk away and go, "Big people are going to fall on me all day." You know how it is. You get to work and somebody that they just got up that morning and you know, you're having a good day, you've chosen your attitude, but somebody else let the environment choose theirs. You walk in, "Betty, how's it going today?" She walks behind the counter. Yeah, I'm not coming to the teacher's lounge ever again. Well, I walked over to one guy. Apparently, he must have heard my speech before. I said, "Sir, I'm so sorry." He looks at me and he goes, "Well, that was more powerful than coffee." And then I walk over to this guy, and this guy, boy, he was a tough cookie. I said, "Sir, I am so sorry," and apology really didn't help the situation. And I'm a visual person, so I looked up and I tried to picture the whole thing happening. And then I started laughing. It just started off as a small laugh, like, and he gets right in my face, like it's go time. And he goes, what is so funny? And then I looked up, and then I looked at him, I said, do you want to do it again? He looks at me and gets a half smile. He goes, man, you ain't right in the head, are you? Not today. We have to learn. Life is short. Laugh it up a little bit. A good, healthy attitude is having a good sense of humor. You got to practice it over and over. Make it a choice.
So I put this in the talk as well. Because I think trusting in God helps us to have a good attitude every day, in my experience. And you've heard this, probably heard this too. A merry heart does good like a medicine. So laughing and having a happy attitude is good medicine. So my challenge to you then is, you learned some things already. What are you going to do? Are you going to make some positive choices? And, I want you to choose. Stick with it. Encourage each other. There's a story, if you've read it, if you haven't read it, but in Daniel chapter 1, 5-20, about diet with Daniel and his friends. And it just took 10 days, and they saw some positive effects from it. So, I encourage you to choose one of these. If you haven't done this, maybe drink a little bit more water, sleep a little bit earlier, eat more fiber. See how you feel. Exercise, and let us know. So at this time, kind of on time, I just, we'll have a question and answer for me about 5 minutes, and then we'll be here afterwards. But I just wanted to introduce, there's a couple other doctors here. If you could just stand, you don't have to be up front here. But there's Dr. Jasper Bassett, Dr. Candice Goles over here, Dr. Daphne Kaniaru, and Dr. Nicholas Uridia. So, we're resources here for you also after the cooking demonstration. So, I guess for the live stream guests, if there's anybody, if they want to text some questions to that number up front, but we'll take a couple more questions, and then we'll do the cooking demonstration. And I also wanted to just emphasize, a lot of this information is actually in those 2 books that are out there. So, if you didn't get one, please feel free to get one. Any questions? If no questions, then we could just go ahead with the cooking demonstration. And then after the cooking demonstration, we'll be around to talk if you'd like to have other questions. So this is Carol, my wife, and this is what she's going to show us here.
Sure. Oh. How many of you have ever made granola? Raise your hand. Okay, we have a few have made granola. Take this off. I love the fall because I get to make granola. During the summer it's hard because it makes the house so hot. But now, it's a great time to make granola. So, let me put this on. It's a very simple recipe. I believe there's only about 8 ingredients. And it's so easy to come together. If you have about an hour in your day, you want to make this, it's great. It's a great, something you could have for breakfast. My family uses this as they eat it like dessert after every meal, practically. So this stuff goes really fast. So we're going to be making vanilla maple almond granola. And what you will need is 3 cups of oats, old-fashioned rolled oats, not the quick kind, the rolled oats. And you will need half a cup of almond flour. Now, I know almond flour tends to be more on the expensive side, so if you choose, you could just use regular flour, but I would cut that amount in half. But almond flour is good. Almonds are good, a good source of protein. It's good for you. Next ingredient is 1/4 cup of whole wheat flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I like to use sea salt because the other just table salt is just no good for you. It's bad for your body. It's just sodium and chloride, whereas sea salt has all the trace minerals that you could find in your blood. So it's actually better for you. 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, and chia seeds are a really good source of magnesium. Do you want me to look at my notes? Yes, great source of magnesium and calcium. And then a neutral tasting oil of your choice. I'm going to use light olive oil today, and maple syrup. Maple syrup, yes, it is a sugar. The original recipe called for additional sugar, but I've adapted this recipe to where there is less sugar. So we're using 1/3 cup of maple syrup. You could use honey if you don't have maple syrup. And vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. So let us begin. So I've got, basically you just dump all your dry ingredients in the bowl. So the 3 cups of oats. You've got your almond flour, and that's the 1/2 cup of almond flour. So I've got that, sprinkle it around. Oh, yes, nut-free version. If you are allergic to nuts, you could take flax seeds, and you do 3 tablespoons of flax seeds instead of the 1/2 cup of almond flour. And I take the seeds, I usually whiz it up in the blender, or you could buy flaxseed meal already ground up for you at the store. Okay, so I put the almond in there. I've got the whole wheat flour. Shake that around. Got my chia seeds. In there. And my sea salt. Okay. Give this a nice, then you want to mix it around so it's well combined. Okay, and then I like to do my wet ingredients separate. So let's do the oil. And I just put it in 1 container. So you've got the 1/4 cup of oil. And I have the maple syrup. Now in this, I ran out of maple syrup, so I added a little bit of honey just to make the amount of sweetener that I needed. Let's see, this isn't coming out very fast. Honey got stuck to the bottom. Okay. And maple syrup, yes, it is a sugar, but it does have some, there are monosaccharides which your body does need. You can find monosaccharides in your fruit also. And let's see. And it does have some minerals in it. It comes from the tree, maple trees, so it does have some minerals just like honey does. Oh. Can't forget this. And the vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon. Okay, mix this together. Pour it in. Oh, I forgot to mention before you start, I'll put a parchment paper on a like 9x13 pan, a cookie sheet, and I'll preheat my oven to 300. So just do that before you get started. And then you just want to mix your granola till everything is nice and moist. So mix. Are there any questions so far while I'm getting this all nice and moist?
Carol,
Yes.
is there a gluten-free option or?
Yes, there are gluten-free oats that you could find. You would just have to find that in the store. It says gluten-free. Also for the flour, I believe they've got like a gluten-free mix, all-purpose gluten-free mix. You can use that also.
And the gluten-free oats is because they don't process it with wheat,
Right. It's not processed in a facility that has wheat. Otherwise, I mean, oats, it doesn't grow gluten in it. It's just contaminated with other gluten things like flour.
So maybe can you use rice flour?
You could use rice flour,
wheat.
but rice flour would probably tend to be a little gritty, maybe. Okay, so this is looking a little moist. So you just want to get all those flour clumps done. Then you just dump it into your pan. Now when I make this, I will make like quadruple the recipe because it goes really fast in my home. So one recipe makes about 5 cups. So if you were going to buy a cereal box of granola, it would probably be 2 recipes from the store. So you just flatten it out so it's a nice even layer, and then you stick it in your 300-degree oven. You stick it in there for 10 minutes. It's 40 minutes total. So you stick it in there 10 minutes, put your timer on, and when that 10 minutes is up, you turn it to the side, and every 10 minutes you rotate till you're done with 40 minutes. And then you let your granola cool for about 5 minutes, and it'll be like one big sheet of granola. So I like chunks, so I kind of just break it up into big pieces. But if you like smaller pieces, then you just break it into smaller pieces. Okay. All right. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. So let's say I'm done, and I'm going to stick it in the oven, okay? Put it in there in your 300-degree oven for 10 minutes, okay? After 10 minutes is up, I'm going to go in the oven, take the pan, and rotate it. So 90 degrees, if your pan doesn't fit the, turning it 90 degrees, just turn it around the other way, and then just keep flipping every 10 minutes, just so it gets evenly baked, yeah. And then after it's done, it should look crispy, like this. So this is a done product. It's like one big chunk of granola. I don't know if you can see that. Usually my paper, I'll peel it back and it'll all break on itself. So this is a done version. And I've got samples of the granola we made today. So we have a nut version, which has almond flour, and we have a nut-free, which has the flaxseed. And I think there's enough for that we could take one of each. So, I mean, there's not too many. Yes, Ken?
Do we cover with foil, or
No.
was that just for demo?
No, this is just for demo, just to keep the things off of it. Yeah, no foil, just stick it in your oven. So I mean, when I do this at home, I'll have about 3 pans going, and I put one at a lower layer, and another pan on another layer, and I'll keep switching them, turning them, just keep rotating it as you cook, and then it's done, and then you can have cereal for the whole week. So it works for us. Yes.
But so do you have it with milk? I'm just imagining
Yeah.
it's maybe dry.
Yes,
It is dry.
I eat it like I eat cookies.
Oh, okay, I see.
But my kids eat it like they eat cereal. So they'll put it in a bowl, and they'll put milk in it. But what I didn't add, and a lot of granolas out in the store, you'll find they'll have pumpkin seeds, they'll have coconut, they'll have chocolate chips, they'll have all kinds of things. I suggest if you want to put nuts or seeds, You could put it in while you're baking. It'll give it a nice toasted taste. However, if you want to do like raisins or like dried berries, I would wait till the end and wait till it cools down and then just throw it in and mix it together. Otherwise, your berries kind of get burned in the oven. Other questions? Oh, here. I think I added this to your, I think it's in there. Like the calories is 334, fat is 15 grams, there's 7 grams of fiber, and sugar is 13 grams, which most of the sugar is coming from the maple syrup. But from the original, if you want the original recipe, I put the link down at the bottom. But with this recipe that I've kind of tweaked a little bit, I cut out some of the fat and I cut out some of the sugar. So, and I added the flaxseed meal. But you could play with this recipe, it's just it's basic. So if you don't have maple syrup, there's honey. If you don't have honey and you want to use cane crystals, you could use that too. So you could, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
If I were diabetic, can I eat this?
If you were diabetic, it does have a lot of fiber. Now, I don't know, you know what? I know that agave nectar is supposed to be low, it's, you know, the lower glycemic index, that's what it's called. Lower glycemic index, so you could use agave nectar in place of this other sweetener. So find a sweetener that'll work for you. And, you know, you could try less if you want, a little bit more, depending on your taste. This isn't, you know, a fairly simple recipe to tweak. You could play with it, basically. It's pretty forgiving unless you're unless you switch the salt with the sugar, you know, then it's not going to be good. But otherwise, yeah, it's a very simple recipe, and it's nice to do it in fall because now it's cooler and we can heat up our homes. Any other questions? I believe you could use cassava. You know, really what the flour does in this is it binds it together so that it's not falling apart when it's baked. Yeah. So try whatever flour you'd like. I believe it'll work just fine. Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, if no more questions, I'm all done.
So just a preview, our next meeting will be actually in 2 weeks. And we're going to be talking about the immune system and some natural remedies. And it's a little preview here. Same time, 3 to 4, in 2 weeks on Sunday. And that's all we have. So like I said, we're going to be here afterwards. Please get a sample of the granola, probably both types of granola. Yeah, we'll be here if you want to ask any other questions. As a, what do you call it, as a disclaimer, you know, still, you know, talk to your doctors if you have any questions about, you know, health issues and stuff that you want to change, things like that. So this is just for like general information. I'd just like to close with prayer and then we could dismiss after that. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you again for this opportunity to share these healthy lifestyle topics, Lord, and I just ask that you be with each and every one of us. Help us to make healthful choices each day. We all need reminders. I need reminders. And we want to give all the glory to you. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, one other thing. I'm going to leave the phone number here, this number down here that you could, if you want to write it down. If you want to text us any suggestions or ideas or any criticisms you have about this, please feel free to do so that we could make this better for you all. Okay? Let's open it up.
We really want to help the community. We want to help everyone to be healthier. And we want to know if we did well for this event
if there's anything that we could have done better. Are there topics that you're thinking of that you want us to talk about in the community? So that would be great. You can text anonymously. You don't even have to leave your name unless we know that it's you because it's someone's phone number. But you can text that phone number so we can get feedback. Thank you.